I'm standing behind the counter at a bottle shop in Melbourne. It's a Thursday afternoon, maybe 3 p.m. This American guy walks in, mid-30s, wearing a baseball cap and a college hoodie. He's got that look. You know the one. Like he's figured out the whole country after being here for 2 days. He walks straight up to me and says, "Hey mate, where's your liquor aisle?" I just point around the entire shop. Because this is the liquor shop. That's all we sell. Beer, wine, spirits. Nothing else. He looks confused for a second. Then he goes, "Oh, so you guys don't sell snacks or anything?" I shake my head. "Nah, just alcohol. You want snacks? There's a servo down the street." "A what?" "Service station. Like a gas station." He nods slowly, still processing. Then he asks if we take American Express. We do. But when I tell him the total is $43, he pulls out a 20 and asks if I have change for a 50. I blink at him. "Mate, you just gave me a 20. He looks at the note in his hand, stares at it, then back at me. "This is a 20? "Yeah, but it's blue. And plastic." "Yep, that's how our money works." He stood there for another 10 seconds, just rubbing the note between his fingers like he'd never seen polymer currency before. Which, I guess, he hadn't. This is the kind of detail most people miss when they travel. And it's exactly what I track full-time, so you don't have to. If you actually care about understanding how cultures really collide, not just the surface-level stuff, you'll want to subscribe. That's what this channel does differently. That was mild compared to what happened the week before. American woman in her 60s checks into the hostel where my friend works. She walks up to the desk and immediately asks, "Is the water here safe to drink?" My friend says, "Yeah, of course." The woman squints. "Are you sure? Because I brought my own purification tablets." "Ma'am, Melbourne has some of the best tap water in the world." She doesn't believe him. For her entire stay, she boils the kettle, lets it cool, then adds purification tablets. To water that's already cleaner than what comes out of most American taps. Or there's the bloke I drove in my Uber 2 months back. American tourist, maybe late 20s. Digital nomad type. Laptop bag, AirPods, the works. We're heading through the city and he asks me, "So, how do you guys deal with all the dangerous animals?" I tell him, "Honestly, you're more likely to get hit by a tram than bitten by a snake in Melbourne." He laughs. Thinks I'm joking. No, seriously though. Like, "Do you check your shoes every morning for spiders?" "Not really. What about your car?" "Mate, I've lived here 34 years. I've seen maybe 3 dangerous spiders. And one of those was at the zoo." He doesn't look convinced. Spends the whole ride scanning the footpath like a huntsman's going to jump through the window. Most people just laugh at moments like this. I break them down. Every story here is a decode of why cultures misunderstand each other in the first place. If that's your speed, you belong here. Hit subscribe and stay 3 steps ahead of the travel cliches. But that was just the beginning. The coffee thing happens at least twice a week at the cafe where I work in Sydney. It's always the same. American tourist walks in, orders a regular coffee, and then looks betrayed when I ask them to clarify. This one guy, business traveler type in his 40s, gets genuinely frustrated. "Just a regular coffee," he repeats, slower this time, like I'm the problem. "Right, but do you want a long black flat white cappuccino, latte?" He cuts me off. "I want a normal coffee, medium roast, black." I make him a long black. He takes 1 sip and his face does this thing, like he's personally offended. "This isn't coffee," he says. "This is espresso." "Yeah, that's what coffee is here." "Where's the drip coffee?" "We don't do drip coffee." He stares at me like I just told him we don't have oxygen. Eventually, he asks for just hot water with coffee in it. I make him an Americano. He tips $2 on a $7 coffee, and I can tell he thinks he's being generous. I don't have the heart to tell him we don't really do tipping here. He leaves the coins on the counter looking so proud of himself. 3 days later, different American. Young woman, maybe early 20s, study abroad student. She orders a latte and specifies, "Can I get that with skim milk?" "Sure, we've got skinny." "No, skim." "Right, yeah. Skinny milk." She looks confused. "Is that the same as skim?" "Yeah, that's what we call it." She processes this for a second. Then she asks, "And do you have half and half?" "What's that?" "You know, half milk, half cream." "Nah, we've got milk or cream, but not mixed." She ends up getting full cream milk because she doesn't trust that our skim is actually skim. The whole time she's waiting, she keeps glancing at the menu board like it's written in code. Which, to be fair, if you don't know what a flat white is, it might as well be. I'm working the front desk at a medical clinic in Brisbane when this American expat, been here maybe 3 months, comes in for an appointment, fills out the form. Everything's fine until she gets to the date section. She writes, "Onedin 6/24/2025. I glance at it and say, "Sorry, just checking. Is this September or the 24th of September?" "It's September 24th. "Right. So you'll want to write it 24/09/2025. We do day first, then month." Her pen hovers over the paper. "That's backwards. It's just how we do it here." She looks genuinely distressed. "But that doesn't make sense. It goes month, day, year." "Not in Australia." She stares at the form for a solid 20 seconds before reluctantly crossing it out and rewriting it our way. The whole time she's muttering, "This is going to confuse me so much." Later, the doctor tells me she asked if the temperature in the room was okay because the thermostat said 22, and she thought it was freezing. He had to explain Celsius to a 30-year-old woman. "I'm a tour guide in the Blue Mountains. American family books a day trip. Parents in their 50s, 2 teenage kids. Nice people, very enthusiastic. We're at an lookout, and the dad asks how far away the next ridge is." "About 3 kilometers, I say." He pauses. "How far is that in miles?" "Roughly 2 miles, he nods. Then his wife asks how tall the cliffs are. I tell her around 400 meters. She waits for me to convert it. I don't. She pulls out her phone and Googles it herself. The whole day is like this. I say it's 25 degrees. They ask what that is in Fahrenheit. I mention the park is 15,000 hectares. They stare blankly until I say about 37,000 acres. The son asks if the walking track is long, and I say 45 minutes return. He goes, "So like how many miles is that?" "It's not distance, mate. It's time." "But how far?" "Maybe 3 kilometers total." He looks at his dad. His dad shrugs. They decide it's too far anyway and stay at the cafe. By the end of the tour, I've done more mental conversions than a calculator. I'm exhausted. The dad tips me $50 Australian and says, "That's like 35 US, right?" It's actually about 32, but I don't correct him. I work at a pharmacy in Perth. American woman comes in, late 30s, very polite. She walks up to the counter and says she needs antibiotics for a sinus infection. "Do you have a prescription?" I ask. "No, but I know which ones I need. I get them all the time back home." I explain that she needs to see a doctor first. She looks stunned. "I have to see a doctor just for antibiotics?" "Yeah, they're prescription only. But I'm only here for a week. I don't have time for a doctor's appointment." There's a bulk billing clinic 2 blocks away. "You can walk in." She perks up at this. "Okay, how much is the appointment?" "If you're a tourist, probably around $80. But the antibiotics will only be about 15 with a script." Her face goes through several emotions. Shock that the doctor costs money. Relief that it's only $80. Confusion that the medicine is so cheap. She asks 3 times if I'm sure about the prices, because back home the antibiotics alone would cost her over $100 without insurance. She comes back an hour later with a prescription, still amazed that she saw a doctor that quickly, pays $15 for the antibiotics, and leaves shaking her head. I'm a flight attendant on the Sydney to Los Angeles route. get Americans coming home from vacation all the time. This one guy, maybe mid-40s, sits down in economy and immediately presses the call button. I walk over. How can I help? Can I get a Coke? We'll be coming through with the service in about 20 minutes once we're in the air. He looks annoyed. I just want a Coke now. We're still boarding, sir. I'll get you one as soon as we can. He huffs, but doesn't push it. 25 minutes later, we do the drinks service. I hand him a Coke. He takes it, and then just sits there looking at me. I wait a second. Anything else? The whole can? Sorry? Do I get the whole can or just the cup? You get both. His eyes widen like I just handed him a lottery ticket. Really? The whole can? Yeah, that's standard. He calls his wife over from across the aisle to show her. They're both genuinely excited about getting a full can of Coke on a flight. I find out later that U.S. domestic flights usually only pour you half a can into a cup. The concept of getting the whole can is apparently thrilling. 3 hours into the flight, the same guy asks for another Coke. I bring it. He asks how much it costs. I tell him it's free. His jaw actually drops. All the drinks are free? Yep, snacks too. He looks like he might cry. Turns out he'd been rationing his drinks because he assumed he'd have to pay for each one. I work at a hotel in Cairns. American couple checks in for their honeymoon. Young, maybe mid-20s, very sweet. They're exhausted from the flight and just want to get to their room. The guy asks, "What floor are we on?" I check the key. First floor, room 104. They head to the elevator. 5 minutes later, they're back at the desk, looking confused. "We can't find our room," the wife says. "Room 104? Yeah, we went to the first floor, but the numbers start at 200. I realize the problem immediately. "Oh, first floor here is one level up. Ground floor is where we are now." The husband blinks. "Ground floor? But this is the first floor. Not in Australia. Ground floor, then first floor, second floor." They look at each other. The wife goes, "That's weird." "It's actually how most of the world does it," I mention. They're skeptical, but they head back to the elevator. Later, I see them at breakfast, and the husband is still talking about it. "The ground floor thing really messed with me," he says to another guest, who's British and just nods sympathetically. I'm a server at a pub in Adelaide. American tourist, solo traveler, sits at the bar on a Tuesday night around 7 p.m., orders a burger and a beer. Food comes out, he eats, seems happy. When he's done, he sits there. Just sits, nursing his beer, looking at his phone, occasionally glancing around. 15 minutes pass. 20. I'm starting to wonder if something's wrong. Finally, he catches my eye. "Can I get the check?" "Oh, you can just pay at the bar whenever you're ready." He looks confused. "You're not going to bring it to me?" "Nah, just come up when you're done." He walks to the bar, still looking uncertain. Pays with his card. Then he hovers there, card machine in hand, staring at the screen. "There's no spot for tip," he says. "Yeah, we don't really tip here." "You can if you want, but it's not expected." So I just leave? "Yeah, mate, you're all set." He stands there for another 5 seconds, looking like he's forgotten how to end a transaction. Finally, he just says thanks and walks out. I watch him through the window. He stops on the footpath, pulls out his phone, and I'd bet money he's Googling, "Do you tip in Australia? I'm a taxi driver in Darwin. Pick up this American bloke at the airport. Probably late 40s. Business type. Big guy, confident voice. Gets in and immediately starts making conversation. "So, Darwin," he says. "That's up in Queensland, right?" "No, mate. Northern Territory." He laughs like I made a joke. "Right, but Queensland is the north part of Australia. Queensland's east coast. We're up top, in the territory." He pulls out his phone and checks Google Maps. I watch his face in the rear view mirror as he realizes he's been telling people he's visiting Queensland for the past week when he's actually been in NT the whole time. His confidence just evaporates. "Oh," he says quietly. "I've been getting that wrong." "Easy mistake," I offer. I told my whole office I was going to Queensland. The rest of the ride is silent except for him typing on his phone, probably sending corrections to everyone back home. I work at a post office in Hobart. American woman comes in, maybe early 60s, wants to mail some postcards back to the States. She hands me 5 cards and asks for stamps. "Sure, international stamps will be $4 each." "Each?" She looks shocked. "That's $20 just for stamps?" "Yeah, it's international postage," she huffs. "Back home, stamps are like 60 cents. "That's domestic though, yeah?" "International postage is always more." "Well, it shouldn't be this expensive." I don't know what to tell her. I don't set the prices. She reluctantly pays, but makes sure to tell me that Australia is gouging tourists with these postal rates. I want to explain that USPS international stamps are also expensive, but she's already walking away, muttering about highway robbery. Later, my coworker tells me the same woman tried to mail a package and was furious that we couldn't guarantee it would arrive before Christmas. It's December 18th, and she wants it to go to Oregon. Some people just don't understand how far away Australia actually is. I'm a gym receptionist on the Gold Coast. American guy comes in for a trial day pass. He's in his early 30s, very fit, very chatty, fills out the waiver form, and I notice he's listed his height as 5'10" and weight as 180 pounds. "Just so you know," I say, "if you need to use any of our body comp machines, they're in metric." "Oh, that's fine," he says confidently. "I can convert." 2 hours later, he comes back to the desk looking distressed. "I think your scale is broken." "Why's that?" "It says I weigh 81. I try not to smile." "Kilograms." "That's about 180 pounds. His face goes red. "Oh, right. I thought I'd lost 100 pounds somehow." "Easy mistake." "I was about to ask if you guys had a doctor on site." He laughs it off, but I can tell he's embarrassed. Later, I see him at the squat rack and overhear him telling another gym-goer the story. At least he can laugh about it. I work at a museum in Canberra. We get a lot of American tourists, especially during summer. This one family comes through, parents and 2 kids, maybe 8 and 10 years old. They're looking at the colonial history exhibit. The dad reads a plaque about the First Fleet arriving in 1788. He turns to his kids and says, very confidently, "See, Australia was settled after America. That's why we're older." His wife nods along. The kids accept this as fact. I'm standing nearby, pretending to straighten brochures. I should probably say something, but also, it's not technically my job to correct them. I watch them walk away, the dad still explaining how America is the older country because it was colonized first. My coworker, who's indigenous, watches them go and just shakes his head. "Older country," he mutters. "Right. The thing is, this happens more than you'd think. Americans confusing colonization dates with actual history, as if nothing existed before Europeans showed up. We've had people ask if Australia has any ancient history, like Egypt or Rome. When we mention Indigenous Australians have been here for over 65,000 years, they look surprised, genuinely didn't know. Later, a different American tourist, a woman in her 50s, asks me if we have any exhibits about the American Revolution's impact on Australia. I explain that the American Revolution actually led to Britain sending convicts here instead of to America. She looks fascinated. So we're the reason Australia exists? Not exactly the way I'd phrase it, but sure. I'm working at a bottle shop in Newcastle. American bloke comes in on a Saturday afternoon, late 20s, looks like a backpacker. He's browsing the beer section for ages, picking up bottles, reading labels, putting them back. Finally, he brings a 6-pack to the counter. "Is this the only size you have?" "We've got singles, 6-packs, and slabs." "What's a slab?" 24-pack. His eyes light up. "Oh, hell yes. I'll take one of those instead." I grab him a slab of the same beer. "Ring it up." "That'll be $52. His smile fades. "52? For a case of beer? Yeah, that's insane. That's like $35 US. Actually, it's about 32. He stands there doing the math, looking increasingly distressed. That's still expensive. Alcohol tax is pretty high here. He considers leaving it. I can see him weighing his options. Eventually, he pays, but he's shaking his head the whole time. I could get a 30-pack for $20 back home. Yeah, different tax systems. He leaves carrying the slab like it's made of gold. I see him later that night walking past the shop with 3 of his mates. They're all carrying the slab together, taking turns, treating it like precious cargo. I guess when you pay that much, you respect the beer. The best one happened just last month. I'm a concierge at a resort in the Whitsundays. American couple checks in for a week, both in their 30s, here for their anniversary. Really nice people. They've planned everything carefully. Boat trips, snorkeling, rainforest tours. On day 3, they come down to breakfast looking exhausted. The husband approaches me and says, very seriously, "We need to talk about the birds." The birds? Yeah, the birds outside our window. They start screaming at like 4:30 in the morning. Every morning, I realize he's talking about kookaburras. Oh, those are kookaburras. They're native. Can you do something about them? Like what? I don't know, move them? Put up nets or something? His wife joins in. We can't sleep. It's ruining our vacation. I try to keep a straight face. They're wild birds. Protected species. We can't really relocate them. The husband looks desperate. Can we change rooms? You'll hear them from any room. They're all over the property. What do other guests do? Earplugs? He stares at me. You're telling me we spent $6,000 on this resort and the solution is earplugs? I mean, it's nature. They're not doing it to be annoying. That's just when they call. The wife pulls up her phone, shows me a video she recorded. It's a kookaburra in full laugh mode at dawn. This is insane, she says. How do you people live like this? I explain that most Australians are used to it, that kookaburras are actually beloved, that hearing them is considered charming. They don't look convinced. The next morning, I see them at breakfast again. They've clearly adapted, both wearing bright orange earplugs. The husband gives me a thumbs up. Problem solved, he says. They spend the rest of the week wearing earplugs everywhere, even during the day, even when it's quiet. I guess once you've been woken up by a kookaburra, you're not taking any chances. On their last day, they're checking out and the wife says, "You know, besides the birds, this place is beautiful." Besides the birds that are literally on our tourism brochures? She laughs. Fair point. As they're leaving, I hear the husband say, "Next time, we're going to New Zealand." I bet their birds are quieter. I don't have the heart to tell him about the tour. These stories keep coming. Every week, there's a new one. And these stories aren't going anywhere. I keep tracking them, decoding them, and sharing the real psychology behind why they happen. Subscribing doesn't help me. It helps you not miss the next cultural reality check. American tourists trying to understand why our seasons are backwards, why our coffee is stronger, why we call flip-flops thongs, why everyone seems so casual about everything. And look, I get it. Traveling is confusing. Different countries do things differently. You can't know everything. But there's something uniquely entertaining about watching people arrive here with complete confidence, assuming Australia is basically just America with accents, and then slowly realizing it's not. It's really not. The metric system isn't changing. The coffee will remain strong. The birds will keep laughing at dawn. And Americans will keep arriving, absolutely certain they've figured it out, right up until the moment they haven't.